Hey gang, well it almost took a month for this guy to show up, but he finally arrived. Today we are taking a look at Knockout from Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise line. It is a deluxe class figure, it is in the packaging, and they call him an oily slick. I really hope that's not a euphemism. Okay, so this guy's garnered a lot of attention online for being probably one of the most mistransformed figures ever. So let's see what all the hubbub is about. And the vehicle mode is loosely based off probably an Aston Martin DBS or DB9. This figure does come in deluxe class form, as I have said, and he comes with this little guy. Now, you might recognize this staff from the episode titled Operation Bumblebee Part 2, as it looks very reminiscent of the little shield projector that he wielded in that episode. But this one has a little kink to it. Actually, it splits apart into two handheld weapons, which we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, the vehicle mode is a very nice vehicle mode. I really like the red and the silver. However, the strange burgundy or maroon color that's on the vehicle is a little bit weird. It looks a lot better on the show than it does in the toy form, though I do have to give the engineers credit, as this thing has a hell of a lot of engineering in it, which we'll get into in a second. I really do like this vehicle mode, but I did notice something as soon as I got the packaging. This thing is small. I mean, this vehicle mode is tiny. Here is Bumblebee in the same toy line up against, right next to it. And then here is Cliffjumper. And if you hear giggling, my wife is watching something. So as you can see, Knockout is significantly smaller. I mean, he's a lot smaller in vehicle mode and a lot more compact. Bumblebee and Cliffjumper aren't the only vehicle modes that Knockout is smaller than. He's also smaller than Ratchet and Wheeljack. He's even shorter than F.E.R.C. And I decided to use the Comic-Con RC to give you guys a better look. Her Knockout's wheelbase is shorter than F.E.R.C. I can't seem to find my RID-RC. I don't know where it went. But I would think it would be about the same length as that figure. This thing is tiny. I mean, this thing is small. And for what you're paying for, I don't really like that. I will be the first to admit, even though its size is a little bit minuscule compared to the other Transformers in the line, his transformation is something that's just crazy. It starts off plainly enough. Simply just pop the back of the vehicle and stretch it straight out. Now this will obviously form the legs. And take the rear bumpers and swivel them about 180. Fold out the feet and flip them around. Now we'll talk more about the feet a little bit later. This is where things get a little bit crazy. What we're going to do is we're actually going to come up here and split the windshield and the top of the hood, and then unpeg it from the front of the car and fold them directly underneath the vehicle like that. And then fold them forward underneath the wheels, and my air conditioning just kicked on. And then fold them after breaking ball joints. Then take the wheels and fold them out and back into the figure like that. When you do that, you'll push this bit down, so you want to push that all the way down. And then that will enable you to fold the entire front of the vehicle down and grab this part where the hood is. And this is probably one of the most annoying parts of the figure. There's also that part that I just popped off. So the sides will unpeg, and they don't do it gently. And then folding that out, or folding this part forward, should allow you to fold the head up, but it's never that simple. There we go. And then fold it all down, flip the grill forward, and peg it in. And then take the piece that you broke off and reattach it. and fold it around so they peg into place around the hips. Now that we've got the base of the robot mode done, now it's time for the arms. And this is, I'm not going to lie, this is crazy. Fold the the sides all the way out like that. Then we can come in here and fold the hands out. And then we completely turn the arms kind of inside and out. And then we fold the hands into position. So again, we're going to take the side here, or take the door of the car and the windshield, fold the hand out, collapse it, and just kind of move the hand into position until you get something like this. And believe it or not, we're done. And here we have Knockout in robot mode. Now, overall, the robot mode is not bad, except for the arms. They're multi-hinged, we'll say. But overall, the bot mode looks pretty good. I'm not really disappointed in it at all. The face is really good, and the shoulders, the shoulder or the chest pads actually do kind of form up on their own, though there are some problems when trying to pose the darn thing. Posability is good, and he is multi-jointed, we will say, but we'll talk about that in a second. The weapon can easily be stored in the back on 2 pegs, or it can be hand-carried in use, either as a whole weapon or split into the 2 individual weapons. Compared to the other Deluxes, Knockout is not missing in the height department when in robot mode. We can be sure of that. Knockout's face is very show accurate, and it does have some light piping. However, it's very difficult to get the light piping quite right. As you can see right there, there's not much to go on. Even though it looks like it's very lightly colored, the screw kind of gets in the way. But the face does look good, though I do think it could stand to have a little bit of work done with a Sharpie or maybe even a wash on the head. Now, posability for this guy, as I said, is pretty extreme. We'll start with the legs. There is some posability in the feet. There's a ball joint up in the ankle, and then a hinge joint at the foot. However, these ball joints are a little bit loose and do tend to collapse very easily. Hinge joint at the knee, swivel joint just above at the top of the thigh, and then a ball joint at the waist. No torso joint due to the transformation. Head is very limited, but it is on a ball joint, so it can move about. Now the arms. This is where things get a little crazy. Ball joint at the shoulder, swivel joint just underneath that, and then because of the transformation, there's a hinge joint in the upper arm, followed by another hinge joint at the elbow area, followed by a swivel joint or a hinge for in and out, and then the hands are on ball joints. Though the look of the arm is terrible. I'm sorry, that just does not look good at all. The arms really detract from the figure, but I don't know how they would have been able to do this figure without doing the arms this way. I don't think it could have worked without the arms being kind of crazy. Now, my one complaint is that the shoulder pads don't peg in anywhere. They just kind of rest on what is the hood. I don't know how well you can see that, but they're just kind of resting there. So if you start moving the arm and you accidentally move the shoulder, it'll slide up and down. Though not too much. It's very easy to get put it back into place. It doesn't look awful, but it does look a little weird, especially with the arms the way they are. I've been trying to figure out if there is a way to make the arms better looking by maybe folding them up and then closing up the hatch. Now, the directions I have you just put the arms all the way out. Though, I know some folks have been bringing the arms and elbows in a little bit, like this. And that does drastically improve things. So, you just saw the way it looked, and those hinges are a little tight. So you can get it such that it looks a little better. the hands. But you do... Arrgh! Now here's the figure with the arms more collapsed. And as I said, the directions I have him with the long gorilla arms. But you can, like I said, you could do it like this, though you do really lose posability in the elbows because these the windows will scrape up against the plastic here on the shoulder. Though it does look worlds better, I think. So final thoughts on Deluxe Class Knockout are, it's a pretty cool figure. It's not perfect by any means. You do have some issues in vehicle mode. In robot mode, you could have 2 different arm configurations, plus, unfortunately, the head doesn't actually peg into place, but thankfully it doesn't really need to. So it's not a perfect figure by any means, and every time I fiddle with it, things start going out of proportion, or going crazy. So, like I said, not a perfect figure, but it is pretty cool. I bet we're going to get this guy as a repaint, probably of Jazz, if anything. But I'm a sucker for figures that are actually on the show, so this is a must-get, in my opinion, especially if you want to have everybody on the show. Otherwise, you might want to pick out somebody else first before you pick this guy up, but he's by no means a bad figure.